Dear awakening souls out there, our journey into 2024 continues. As I've already mentioned, this year we're going through an intense period of deep transformation in the world, or at least in this year the pace has dramatically increased. And we're going through what's being called the Great Awakening. It's worth remembering to keep an eye on the celestial activities constantly going on out there, because they do have and will continue to have profound influence on our soul, physically, mentally and emotionally, in our personal lives as well as in the collective. And it's worth remembering this connection between the personal and the collective, yourself and your environment. Everything is visibly and invisibly connected, so don't continue to believe that whatever is happening out there on the other side of the world from you doesn't affect you. And most importantly, don't believe that the other side of the world is not affected by you. You do affect everything, which should be a sobering but empowering acknowledgement, and my job is to help you become more aware of this undeniable fact. Just in the last couple of months, starting from the last solar eclipse in April and the intense solar flares activity in May, remember that weekend when the pink aurora borealis was seen in unusual places around the world? Well, since then, I personally have felt huge inner changes in my body and my psyche, and I've noticed that this is happening to more and more people around me as well. The relationships between natural and social events are too important to continue to go unnoticed, and we need to learn how to connect the dots in life and in our environment by keeping our ears to the ground, literally, if we want to start living more consciously and stop being pushed around like leaves in the wind, as if life happened to us. Life and events don't happen to you. You're not a powerless victim of circumstances, so you may as well begin to take responsibility for your own mindset when it comes to understanding the true nature of reality and your existence in it. To live in truth means to become aware of your personal power in relation to life. Life with a big L. Existence is all about relationships. And this includes your relationship with nature. And nature includes everything, the seen and the unseen, like the cosmos, the energetic field, the energies that all the interactions of living bodies create in the magnetic field. So join me on this journey of self-discovery and transformation as we continue to embrace the magic and turmoil of these current times, so as to lock its profound potential for personal and collective evolution. My name is Roxana FIAMMA. I'm your spiritual guide, hero's journey and transformation coach, and this is the Conscious Cruising Podcast. This podcast aims at connecting and unifying like-minded people. If these reflections resonate with you, please consider liking and sharing the video, and even better, subscribe to the channel and help it grow into a community of awakened individuals, all living with the same goal in mind: freedom and personal sovereignty. So, today is the 1st of June, and this month's solar activity and other celestial phenomena will continue to strongly affect the energy of the earth and all of its inhabitants, and will have the solstice as well. So many people all over the world seem to be feeling completely overwhelmed by the intensity of the energy right now on planet Earth. Some people have said to me that other humans are annoying them right now, and although that sounds funny, it's also quite accurate. But don't worry, because all of these feelings are completely normal. And in this episode, I'm going to help you understand what exactly is happening on an energetic level around the world, how this is affecting you at the mind, body and soul level. And then I'll share some good tips to help you stay grounded and sane in the middle of these intense energetic downloads, because things are going to intensify this summer. First, let's take a look at what's happening with the energy right now. So our planet is going through a process of evolution, much in the same way as human beings are. Humans, all living beings, and even the planet Earth itself are all going through the same process of evolution together. The Earth is a sentient being and it's evolving. It has her own consciousness and we're going with it because we belong to Earth. It's as if we are its microorganisms, just like we have our own ones in our bodies. So the Earth is evolving at its own speed, and now she's taking us with her in this bio-spiritual upgrade and evolution. And so we're going with FIAMMA, whether we like it or not. We don't have a choice in the matter. Well, we do live in a free will universe, and we always have the freedom to choose whether to react or respond to what happens to us externally. But basically, we're either going through this evolution or we're not, meaning that we'll either evolve or we'll pass away and leave the planet. The Conscious Cruising podcast is for those who choose to evolve and learn how to adapt to the external forces that will forge us and initiate us on the way to our authentic self, a state of being that will open us to our true power and potential. And what is potential now, it will finally be manifested if we put in the work to stay open, humble and willing to go on our personal hero's journey and master our evolution of consciousness. Ever since 2012, and especially after 2020 and all of its collective shenanigans, we've seen a huge jump in the frequency of the energy on the planet, and that will affect us all. At the moment, this ascension process is really accentuated. Things are becoming more and more intense. There is so much light coming in now that the planet is becoming more illuminated. Isn't that a lovely prospect? I love the notion that everything is becoming more illuminated. There are more light codes, and these codes carry information for our biology, our DNA. The higher the frequency, the more evolved the energy is, and the more light our bodies are required to hold. And with the frequency on the rise, it means that time is also affected. Have you noticed that it feels like things are moving faster than they used to? With time moving faster, we can experience a quickening of our spiritual awakening, and we can feel overwhelmed by the speed of healing now. Therefore, there are downsides to the process of this evolution of consciousness at the moment. A couple of the downside issues that happen during these more intense phases of ascension are, well, one is conflict of energy. As more concentration of light enters onto the planet, all of the gunk gets kicked up. A bit like when you are physically or mentally or emotionally detoxing. Once you shine light onto something that hurts and you detox from it, you have to put up with the toxins that come up to leave your body or your system. So these two elements of wellness and illness obviously have contrasting energies which bring up conflict of some sort. And basically, the detoxing that's going on right now in the Great Awakening is collective as well as personal. And the shadow of the world starts to come up. Well, that's been coming up for over a decade now. So suddenly we'll start to have more conflicts. What? You may say, aren't there enough conflict in the world already? How much worse can it get? Well, brace yourself. We may be approaching the apex of shadow this year. And as this tension rises, people get more easily irritated, fearful and angry. They're angrier and more off in general, including yourself, of course. This can even be escalated into more wars, into severe disagreements, into problems with systems, with institutions, we will also see a rise of the digital, and so digital currency, digital identities, and face recognitions, all things that will trigger us. All of these conflicts can come up to the surface and destabilize the collective. This conflicted energy can really affect us all, especially more spiritually sensitive people. But it can also awaken more people onto a similar path to ours. The second downside of all this light entering the planet is our physical symptoms. So a lot of us on the planet will have either physical, mental, or emotional symptoms, or all of them together. You may experience anything from aches and pains, swelling, headaches, and even strong pains in your bones and temperature. You can be really exhausted or can have mental discomfort, like your mind becoming really negative, making you a little short-tempered or even emotional or, well, down depressed. And you can definitely feel overwhelmed and brain-fogged. The downside for me personally, especially since the solar eclipse and the famous solar flare weekend where a couple of weeks ago when even my recording equipment packed it in, has been huge tiredness on a mental and physical level. But no need to panic. The most obvious thing to do is to listen to your body and follow what it asks. No one else will do that for you. So you have to give yourself permission to take care of yourself. Slow down. On the other hand, a positive consequence of learning to give yourself permission and to take care of yourself is that you'll strengthen your own authority. And as chaos increases in the world, you'll learn to respect your own authority and you will take yourself more seriously, hence strengthening your sovereignty. So, as you can see, you need to endure the contrast in order to embody your unlimited power with confidence. So all these are very common symptoms of ascension. Learn to tune in to that, instead of thinking that something is wrong with you and that you have to start worrying or need to take a pill or similar external interventions as people usually do. No, don't listen to people who may project onto you their fears or their ways of interpreting life. Listen to your physical vessel, collaborate with it, do as it asks, and have the courage to switch off and close the door no matter what. Of course, you will still need to work and function in the world, and I don't mean that you need to have to clock out for the whole year. These downloads can be occurring very, very rapidly when we have them, especially when we get blasted by these light codes. But they are not continuous. They come in phases. It's only that lately these phases have intensified in frequency and potency. So during these phases of intense solar activities, where more light enters Earth and our nervous system gets hit more intensely, the ascension process gets faster. One easy way to keep track of what's going on in and around you is by following what's known as the Schumann Resonance. The Schumann Resonance is the electromagnetic field of the planet. And when you follow its graph, you're basically measuring the heartbeat of the Earth. You'll notice that lately we've had a lot of peaks in energy, and these peaks in the Schumann Resonance are the areas of the graph where you see the intense white. I put a link to a video where it explains how to read the Schumann Resonance. And you can also find on the internet live websites where they're obviously following the heartbeat of the Earth in real time. So if you want to check the correlation between these flares and your physical and emotional lows, you can follow the graph and see. As a rule of thumb, when these spikes in the Schumann Resonance occur, very frequently they correlate with severe symptoms that we can have in our own bodies. So whenever the electromagnetic field on the planet changes, our bodies will feel it immediately. And that's how blinding the solar flares can be, the solar energy. And apart from that energy feeling blinding, is also very, very intense. And so now, more than ever, awakening people like you really need to have a good set of spiritual hacks that will keep you centered and calm no matter what's happening because of these crazy energies. The first tip I have for you is to ground yourself. Oh my God, grounding, grounding, grounding. I said this in past episodes and will continue to recommend it. Grounding is becoming more and more crucial as the energy accelerates and gets higher in vibration. Because although we're spiritual, we're very much physical as well, and the two dimensions don't necessarily mutually exclude each other. While our nervous system is incorporating and metabolizing all this light coding, we can feel tired and unwell. But there are many activities and tools at our disposal that we can use to live well. And one of the most powerful is grounding. It is very simple to ground yourself. You can just take your shoes off, take your socks off, and literally walk barefoot around the earth, not on cement, but on anything that is bare earth, like dirt, grass, in the forest, on the beach, sand. And you can also take this to another level by pounding or marching your feet on the ground. When you march or pound your naked feet on the ground, you're not only grounding and connecting to the energy of the planet, you're doing much more. When your skin connects to the planet, you're connecting to what's known as the energy grid of the planet. But then when you start marching, you're adding vibration there. And that vibration travels up your legs through your bones, and it creates an even more grounding sensation of yourself in your body. You don't only ground with your feet, you can also ground with your hands. So you can get down on your hands and knees and you can play with the dirt. You can pound your hands down, or if you want to stay standing, you can just walk around, go in nature, hold on to tree trunks, or literally hug trees for at least 20 or 30 seconds. I personally laugh at the people who make fun of tree huggers. It's so grounding and healthy and beautiful. I do love trees. I definitely have a very deep connection with trees. You can touch rocks or just touch the ground, touch trees, touch rocks, touch natural elements with your hands. And that's also going to be highly, highly grounding for your system. The second hack is what I called freeze frame. This is a little exercise that I love doing because it means that when you catch yourself either feeling irritated, angry, out of sorts, upset, and so on, when you catch yourself like this, you can freeze in that moment. Close your eyes, put your hands on your heart, and take a nice, deep breath. And just like when you're watching a film, freeze frame that moment and pay attention to how you're feeling in that moment and how your body is feeling in that moment. Here you're taking time to connect with your breathing and with your physical self by observing with awareness what is happening in your body. Try to switch your mind off and just connect to your body. What happens when you do this is that you are immediately re-entering and resetting your energy in the here and now, and so that you don't let your mind get caught into these mental loops and down spirals, these negative thought patterns or very intense emotions which then get you stuck in that rabbit hole. When you practice this freeze frame technique, you are resetting your energy and are bringing yourself back down to the center pretty quickly. And as you do this practice more and more, you become good at grounding yourself in the here and now. And also you get good at spotting immediately when the turbulent feelings come up. And you can start using the freeze frame technique at the beginning of your negative feelings. Because if you wait too long to catch yourself off-centered, it becomes harder to come back from it. So a lot of times you'll get in these kind of angry fits and you will be off-centered, or you will be upset or out of sorts. Sometimes you can stay in this state for days on end when there's no need to. You do have the power to control your own environment, and we're talking about your inner environment. First the inner and then the outer. And if you don't apply the freeze frame technique or any other pattern breaking tool, it's harder for you to come back to your center, because it's going to take a little bit more effort. But if you really get good at catching yourself, as soon as you get into these off-centered moments in your life, it'll be much easier for you to come back to center and ground yourself immediately. So remember to use this freeze frame technique. The next hack is deep breathing. Just like the previous hack, this is the fundamental pattern breaker. You can't get any more basic than breathing. And what I'm talking about here is a little bit different than the deep breath you took with the previous exercise, where you stop yourself in your tracks, take a deep breath and check in with awareness on your feelings for a moment. What I'm talking about here is an actual deep breathing meditation daily routine that should be at least 10 minutes long. And the more you focus on deep belly breathing, the better. So make that 10 minutes phase just the beginning, because that's really just a minimum. It could be longer than that over time or immediately. But if you're starting with 10 minutes, trying to, work yourself up to half an hour. If you incorporate these deep breathing exercises and these deep breathing techniques in your daily routine, you are going to find that your life will completely change. Your energy is going to be much more grounded, calm, and centered, no matter what is going on in this crazy world. I'd like to add other things that you can do to make your life more pleasant, beautiful, and relaxed. First, I'd just like to remind you to like and share this video and subscribe to the channel so that more people can connect with us and expand our community of beautiful individuals who want to live in freedom and sovereignty. There is no doubt that as some move forward and progress to higher understanding of life, we'll become more and more aware of the nature of reality and how it's all about frequency and energy. In a way, we're already talking more and more in terms of energy, but going forward, we'll begin to understand about energy in a bigger and more profound way. But we have to remind ourselves that the air element of that energy runs the risk of taking us more and more into our heads. And in fact, there is a misconception that the spiritual realm is ethereal and bodiless, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Perhaps that belief has been deliberately planted, especially through New Age teaching, in the collective mind as a way to trick us away from our personal power. Make no mistake, we are physical beings, and we need to learn to honor that and drop into our body whenever we catch ourselves being in the mind too much. That's grounding and breathing. We need to learn to listen to our bodies rather than to live in the head. It's essential to our health and well-being. Physical exercise is crucial too, as much as food that is as close to its natural state as possible, so less on that processed food. But again, at the same time, the more relaxed and aligned we are, we will have less necessity to reach out for comfort food. But even if we do reach out for processed food, if we are in our body, if we are aligned, we can always bless whatever comes into our body. We can purify. So there's no need to worry too much about it. But at the same time, do keep an eye on the kind of food you're watching. So the range of go-to practices to keep you grounded is endless. You can do things that bring you pleasure, Like, for example, using essential oil, and if you are irritated or anxious, you can use lavender essential oil. Just to smell, it does bring you back in a matter of seconds, and then the body and the mind kicks in, and you start being on your favorite beach, even if you're commuting. So don't underestimate the power of your five senses and the power of smell. You could also pick up shells and crystals, if that gives you pleasure as well, because crystal also have a specific energy, and I've discovered that there are ways to actually communicate with stones. So I want to learn how to communicate with a stone. And I want to conclude with a reminder of setting intention. And as we come up to the new moon next week, I want to remind you about the power of rituals as well. So do cut aside some time for yourself. If you can't be in the evening, you can do it during the day on the new moon between the 5th and the 6th of June next week. And do set a new intention, because every new moon is the beginning of a new cycle. So like I closed a circle during the last full moon a few weeks ago, I now have a new beginning, the new seed to plant. So place intentions, and even reinforce that intention on your full moon, and you can take the cycle of each moon cycle, you can take it as a way to set goals or milestones. So whatever your intention you can place for this new moon cycle, you can then reiterate that intention in your everyday life at the beginning of your day. Just remember that to make it really positive for you, whatever you wish to manifest and whatever intention you wish to set, be sure to also include everybody else. So whatever you wish to achieve and manifest, you will also manifest this thing for the good of all involved. So let me remind you that now is the time to step outside our boxes and just connect with like-minded people to share our insights and curiosity. If you want to know more or have comments about this episode, why not reach out and connect with me, or leave a comment in the section below. I thank you for listening this far. My name is Roxana FIAMMA. I'm your spiritual guide, hero's journey and transformation coach, and this was the Conscious Cruising Podcast. Light up your fire.